Good day. You are watching Legal Help Desk on the Solar News Channel. This show is about making the law work for you by giving legal advice on topics that matter to you. I'm attorney Karen Jimeno.
And I'm attorney Rod Nepomuceno. Today we'll show you the best of Legal HD as we celebrate our first-year anniversary.
Your legal counsel. Attorney Karen
In the last
Jimeno
year since we aired
And I'm attorney
Legal
Rod
Help Desk,
Nepomuceno.
we featured some of your primary concerns when it comes to your legal rights.
Gusto kong mangyari, kunin na talaga yung anak ko.
Kahit gusto ko lumaban, pero syempre, lalaki siya eh. Mas malakas siya kaysa sa akin.
Nalaman namin na wala kaming sariling meto sa tubig.
Throughout the year, we help our viewers and followers online with their legal concerns.
When should landlords raise their rental fees?
And sought the expert legal advice of lawyers and professionals.
In that case of Asian transmission versus Court of Appeals.
But no matter how serious the cases and legal concerns of our viewers were, we still managed to insert a few laughs along the way.
I hope not.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
Now, as we mark our first anniversary,
On Legal
Legal
Help
Help Desk
Desk,
will
we
be a
tackled
one-hour program starting December 2, giving us more time to answer all of your legal concerns.
Thought it's been a year since we aired. Time flies, diba, Rod?
I know, it seems like yesterday. I know it sounds cliche, but it seems like yesterday when we started our first show. And, you know, it's only been a year, but we've tackled so much.
Yes, we tackled a lot of issues ranging from personal to domestic, even work-related, and even criminal acts such as these.
Our Human Security Act of 2007, terrorism is broadly defined. No? If you commit any of the acts mentioned in the revised penal code, such as piracy, mutiny, kidnapping, murder,
kidnapping. And
Even serious illegal detention.
yes, plus that, and also illegal possession of firearms or crimes of destruction, such as what is happening here. No, they are illegally detaining people. Tapos they're also utilizing explosives and also parang tinatawag na crime of destruction din yon. It can be classified as an act of terrorism subject to other two conditions. First, these acts must sow the condition of extraordinary fear or panic among the populace, which is nangyayari naman sa Zamboanga ngayon. People are panicking because of what they're doing. And the third condition is that they are asking for an unlawful demand from the government.
What makes the anti-terrorism law more effective or powerful than if you charged, for instance, yung katulad ng hostage taking in Zamboanga?
Kasi when you talk about the penalty for the Human Security Act is 40 years imprisonment. So
Without parole, no?
Without parole. And that would hold true for most of the crimes in the revised penal code, like murder. Ganun din naman siya, reclusion perpetual, which would also translate to 40 years. However, the Human Security Act actually is utilized more as a tool by government and police agencies so that they can capture these criminals, these terrorists. There are reliefs given which are beyond what you expect in the normal criminal laws or even the Constitution.
Yeah, one interesting thing would be even getting custody of them.
There is a provision in the law you know, that you can adjudicate or declare an organization a terrorist group.
Yes, a terrorist.
Now, what is the relevance of that? If you declare a group a terrorist group or organization, what does that exactly mean insofar as that group is concerned?
Well, firstly, there's a presumption, no, na you're doing something illegal, and being a member of a terrorist organization is deemed illegal because of that. Unlike before, no, hindi naman very because we have the freedom of assembly of organization. This one, so if you're classified as a terrorist group, pag nalaman na miyembro ka, you can yes,
Okay. This goes way back, 1954, may namatay na ng hazing.
Yes.
But it wasn't as often ng 1954 to 98.
It was increasing.
Pero starting by 2006, 2012, every year may namamatay sa hazing. So maybe we start with Attorney Enrico who talks about county security. Why do you think nagiging prevalent?
Almost sometimes it's a home factor. How the experience at home. How parents deal with their children. So some of these students are looking for that sense of belongingness, and especially nowadays that the parents, most of the parents are away. They are single parents.
Working abroad.
They're working abroad.
Yes.
And you mentioned as
So,
early as...
what-
sorry.
Sorry, so when you speak to schools, ano yung tip nyo normally to parents to make sure that their kids do not join fraternities or sororities that endanger their
I
lives?
always tell them quality time matters. That whenever they have the chance, be with their children. Take time to have a bonding with their children.
Sir, you were saying earlier, you mentioned that as early as grade 7. Di ba?
Yeah.
They're already being invited.
Initiation.
They're already being invited to
In fact,
fraternities.
one of the
know
exclusive
that
schools in Makati invited me to talk on fraternity because these are boys in the grade 7 because recruitment in fraternity starts even in the elementary grade 6, grade 7.
Now, elementary and high school, sir, it is really prohibited.
Yes.
And so, meaning any membership or any student who joins frats.
And I would like to clarify that they have to check with the Department of Education because in my experience, I got hold of a circular coming from the Department of Education that fraternity in the elementary and the high school is banned.
Is banned
Yes.
in
They are not
high
allowed to
school
join
and
fraternity in the elementary and the high school.
Okay. Another big misconception among people is that hazing is absolutely illegal or prohibited by law. So I think this is a good time, Attorney Reynolds, for you to clarify na pwede naman talaga ang hazing.
Actually, hazing is not illegal per se. So calling Republic Act 8049 as the anti-hazing law is really inaccurate because it only regulates the act of hazing.
Yes.
It is allowed provided that you will comply with the requirements under the law.
Okay.
So the law
ano yung
defines
mga
hazing.
requirements?
When you will conduct your initiation rites, there must be notice to the school 7 days prior to the initiation rites. The initiation rites must not exceed 3 days, and there must be no infliction of physical violence. So while hazing is also defined as the infliction of psychological suffering, what is punished under Republic Act 8049 is only the infliction of physical violence.
This is something you can clarify para yung mga establishment owners out there can be very vigilant against hazing.
Well, there are situations where a person who's not physically present during the initiation stage or the hazing will still be criminally liable if they allow their premises to be used with their knowledge that the premises will be used for initiation rites and they allowed it and failed to stop the conduct of the hazing, then they will be liable also. If you're a stranger, you're not related to any of the member, you will be liable as an accomplice. But if you're the parent of one of the members of the fraternity, you will be liable as a principal.
Meaning kung sa bahay mo ginawa yung hazing, tapos
I see.
meron
Also,
namatay, then you can also be a principal.
You will be liable as a principal because that is very normal for parents who are also members of the fraternity to allow their homes to be the venue for
Now,
hazing.
what are your thoughts on, you heard the case of Vanessa, she was
Yes.
abused.
But just to be clear, diba, the violation here, she could have even filed a case under the VAUC even before they got married because she mentioned na sinisimula na siya saktan before they got married.
Yes. So she can file a case of physical abuse, which is covered by Republic Act 9262 against her husband.
Yes, 9262 is the Anti-Violence Against
Yes.
Women and Their Children Act.
Yes, and as a remedy, she can, as long as the threat is there, she can request for an issuance of protective order. Kung temporary, pwede ito from the barangay. And then, she can also request for permanent protection order from the court.
Kunwari sa case ni Vanessa, pagka patuloy siyang sinasaktan or yung, I guess, yung abuse dito, even psychological, na binabato siya ng plato kahit hindi pa siya tamaan, the easiest way to get this protection order is to go where?
Okay, protection order, the way to get a protection order is either through the barangay or through the courts. And tama ka, Karen, in your observation that it is really a fast way to get a remedy. And precisely that was the intention of the law, okay? When we talk about violence against women, we're talking about human rights violation that's happening most of the time within the home, within the context of an intimate partnership.
So they don't have to be married?
They don't have to be married. Like Vanessa, for instance, you don't have to be married to be able to avail of that remedy. It's enough that you are intimate. That's the operative factor. And dating relationship, mag-on, mutual understanding.
So a casual tryst. You meet each other in a club, you go together and you have something going on. Is that covered already?
Something going on would be, I would say, sexual
Parang one-night
relationship.
stand?
Like a-
Yeah, one night
Even
stand. Yes,
Yes,
that would
yes,
be
ma'am.
covered.
Even if you had just dated once,
Dated once.
yes.
Wow.
So guys, be
Guys,
careful
be careful.
Kasi kasama dito stalking,
Naku.
di ba?
Oo.
So if you stalk your date, ako, you can be, pwede kayong maging liable against this law, right?
We also introduced and explained some recently passed and signed laws by the president. Some of them quite controversial. No? The RH law, the anti-bullying law. No? So.
And we couldn't have done all of that without the help of our guests. So maraming salamat po sa lahat na nag-guest sa amin. And now, let's show our viewers a short clip of what we learned when we tackled personal and family law cases.
A lot of people still really don't know what this law provides, even if some of them might be anti or pro. Basically, can you help us give the highlights? What people need to know about the law? What benefits does it offer?
The RH law, or the Responsible Parent and Reproductive Health law, actually is a fulfillment of our commitment to the Constitution and international law. So the Constitution provides that the state has an obligation to its citizens to provide the right to health. And this includes the right to reproductive health. Under our commitment to the ICPD, or the Conference on Population Development, it says there that reproductive health includes not only the absence of disease or infirmity with respect to our reproductive processes and functions, but also the basic respect for the right of the individual and the couples to decide without discrimination or coercion on matters concerning reproduction and their reproductive health, concerning the timing and spacing of their children, and whether or not have children at all.
Okay.
Why do you think there's such I guess, misinterpretation or a prejudgment on this law, and thus causing this controversy? And what should we say to the public that will clarify all the misconceptions about this law?
One thing I think that people often have about conceptions that they have about the RH is that it's all about distributing condoms, making it available to everyone, and violating the beliefs of other people, healthcare providers, for instance, who do not believe in some of the services that are being made available under the RH law would be forced to provide those services. They won't be. People will not be forced to avail of services that are against their beliefs and their religious or cultural beliefs. Healthcare providers will not be forced to perform services or dispense services or contraceptives if
Even
it's
if
against
it's
their
public
beliefs.
health service providers. So if
it's public health,
public hospitals
they're required.
are required to provide these services.
Let's take a short break. Legal Help Desk will return after these reminders.
do you punish kids for acts of bullying?
Most definitely. To answer the question first, the laws that we have now are inadequate to address the problem of bullying. And with this bill, we hope to cover that policy gap. And we're not going to penalize or hail to prison those kids. But there will be graduation of penalties as dictated by the schools themselves.
What kind of penalty? What kind of penalties are we talking about? Like suspension,
from
or
suspension to expulsion to some probationary, and other penalties that the school may think of. I think the most important aspect of this bill is the proactive response to bullying. By defining bullying and by informing the parents, the students, the teachers of what constitutes bullying, everybody would be more conscious about their behavior.
And Senator, in this bill, is there a way for students themselves to report without having to go to the parents? Kasi I feel that students normally are reluctant to really tell their parents, especially kids. So does it have like a mechanism where you're required to maybe, if you're a school, to put up a help desk or some form of counseling?
Yes, it's defined there, the mechanisms for reporting and where to report, how to report. So the kids will be informed and the parents themselves, and it will also encourage anonymous reporting so that the suspected bullies can be observed by the school authorities.
And who determines kung may bullying? Is it the school based on the definition of the law? Kasi it can also be subject to abuse na meron lang nang inis sa'yo, i-report mo na for
the tough part
bullying.
there is, like for us before, no, I mean, we'd call someone, I mean, words like pandak, sakang, or we would have these terms of endearment. Sometimes you use it as a term of endearment, with not knowing that we're actually insulting someone. But sometimes it just boils down to that. It's just empty chatter.
So in that case, would it be the teachers who can tell, who will be able to have authority to say this is bullying and therefore we can punish the kid?
I think it's a little of both. Primarily, it will boil down to the threshold of the students themselves. If they feel that they cannot, that those teasing would cross the line or their personal threshold, then they can report it as bullying. But there are also provisions there for anti-retaliation and for false accusers. So at least
that's good to know. Para hindi ma-abuse.
Under the family code, if a child is illegitimate, the parental authority is to be exercised by the mother, especially if the child is under 7 years of age.
May difference ba if you have an illegitimate child, but some birth certificates, in his case, in the case of John, hindi man lang siya linagay sa birth certificate as the father, but some birth certificates write the name of the father. Kahit ba ilagay yon ng mother doon, if the child is illegitimate, the custody, the parental authority still goes to the mother?
Yes, that is why this should be best addressed to Congress, because the law is very clear. If the child is illegitimate, the parental authority should be with the mother.
Is that exclusive though? Is it the exclusive authority? And in this case, yung case study natin, he cannot exercise any kind of authority and thus not have any custody for the child?
We must take into account that when you talk of custody, it is actually attached to the matter of parental authority. So unless the parental authority is taken away from the mother, then no choice but whoever has the parental authority will also have the custody.
But paano kung dalawa yung mga parehong may fault? Kunwari, you have a mother who merong grounds ng immorality kasi meron siyang kinakasamang ibang lalaki or meron siyang boyfriend even if she's not yet annulled. Tapos the father naman is known to be an alcoholic. How does the court then weigh these factors to determine kanino dapat
can they both lose? Meaning,
there's no hard and fast rule on this. But to my mind, and siguro suggestion na rin sa mga parents, let's not include the children. Ang away ng nanay at tatay o mag-asawa, away nila, hindi kasama yung mga bata. So, ang best formula dyan is they agree on shared custody. And they ask the court to approve. Importante yung court approval. Importante. Why? In one case, walang court imprimatur yung agreement nila and the child was less than 7 years of age. So, the mother effectively waived yung kanyang maternal custodial right dun sa bata. Later on, she questioned it. And the Supreme Court said that yung waiver ng nanay
was invalid.
Was void.
Was void,
So meaning binalik sa kanya yung custody kahit na
hindi lang sa binalik kasi overtaken by events na sa kanya naman din yung bata. Hindi siya na-forced na i-relinquish.
Thus, you cannot enter into agreement where you're waiving effectively your parental authority.
Except, of course, it's a gray area. Ang importante may court approval. Because the court using its not just facilities, expertise, but The court can even order a psychiatrist or child psychologist to evaluate the child, or the social worker to make a child custody study.
Right.
So they will take into account all of those. A confluence of all those factors will make the court the right decision.
Tonight, we are featuring some of our best episodes since our 1 year of airing.
That's right. And since we aired, we featured a lot of programs and services provided by the government, because really there are a lot of questions when it comes to government services, and we try to tackle them one by one.
Who could apply for pag-ibig loans? We all know that it's a contribution system, a saving system, as mentioned in the VTR. No? So, can you tell us how the system works and who can apply for a loan?
Okay, so a pag-ibig member, who are pag-ibig fund members, so all SSS members, so from the private sector, also GSIS members, so from the government service, self-employed should be pag-ibig fund members. Overseas Filipino workers are also pag-ibig fund members. So any pag-ibig fund member who has 24 monthly total savings with pag-ibig fund, so that means 200 pesos per month times 24, that person will already be eligible for a pag-ibig fund housing loan. Now, if we are talking about the multi-purpose loan, because we have different products, we have housing loan, which is the principal product of Pag-ibig Fund. We have the multi-purpose loan, and we also have the calamity loan. So for the multi-purpose loan and calamity loan, the eligibility is that the member should be contributing for at least 2 years, so that we can already say something about the regularity of their payments. Then they can avail of the loan, which is up to 80% of their total savings. So for example, if they have already saved 10,000 pesos in Pag-ibig Fund, they can borrow 8,000 pesos for the multi-purpose loan. 80%.
I think it's easier for those that are employed either in the private or public sector, kasi the employers have the obligation minsan na talagang sila yung nagbabawas and they give it to Pag-ibig. But if you're self-employed or an OFW, of course working for a foreign company na hindi naman magko-communicate with Pag-ibig, how do you make sure that you're part of this system?
Okay, so you are correct in your observation. So that's why, and also we have links with SSS and GSIS and BIR, and also the local government units for which are the businesses, and we require for their employees to be members of Pag-ibig Fund. Now, it's a different challenge for us to make sure that our OFWs and the self-employed, the professionals also become our members. So how do we ensure that? So we also partnered with POEA to make sure, for example, for our OFWs, everyone who leaves the country will be required by POEA to update their Pag-ibig contribution, or to make sure that they are members and they update their contributions. Once they're out of the country, we also have linked with Department of Labor, with the labor attaché in our embassy, so that every OFW who is returning to the country will also be required to update their Pag-ibig contribution. Now, with the self-employed, we have partnered with a lot of banks, remittance facilities, agencies, so that, for example, anyone who has a credit card that's powered by Visa or MasterCard can just pay online. You just go to our website, thepagibigfund.gov.ph, and they could pay through their credit cards the monthly contribution. So, but it's a different challenge because they don't have the employer. If they don't have the employer who has the obligation to remit to us their contribution.
There was an expanded Senior Citizens Act. Can you tell us what the highlights are of this act compared to the previous laws?
Yes, one of the highlights is the exemption from EVAT.
So walang expanded value-added tax?
Wala na. Prior to that, we thought we were receiving 20% discounts, pero yung pala, there was an additional 12% EVAT na ipinapatong.
So, but how do you even take that out, considering if you go to the grocery, automatic naka-factor in na yung EVAT. So if you're a senior citizen, how can you enjoy this benefit?
Meron silang computation yan actually sa
mga supermarkets.
Sa supermarkets. Okay. Meron silang computation na inaalis nila yung EVAT yung naka-factor na IVAT para i-ano
So
nila.
if you're doing the grocery, you should present your senior citizen's ID.
Yes.
But other benefits that are very applicable talaga to senior citizens. Medicines.
Yes.
Ano yung
Importante yan.
Sa
discount
medicines,
and how do you get it?
yes, 20% discount sa mga essential medicines.
Essential. You mean,
Essential
kasama po
medicines.
ba vitamins dyan?
Hindi po.
Hindi
okay.
kasama.
Unless yung vitamins na yan ay specifically prescribed by your physician para sa kanya, para sa treatment, sa prevention o kaya ano ng older person.
Now, ma'am, kasama rin ba yung it involves mga services, no? So it includes, of course, restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah, restaurants. So, ako personally, I experienced that
Me
when
too, with my parents.
With my parents.
Yeah.
No, and normally, ano ba yung policy dyan, ma'am? Ano lang yung kinain nila specifically, or do we, kunyari kung 5 kami and we have my two parents, do we divide it by 5 tapos multiply by 2 yung discount nila, parang ganun?
Kapag ang order ay bulk o kaya yung parang family style, ganyan. Usually, ang restaurant would divide the amount, the bill, by 5 and then i-allocate doon sa
allocate yung discount sa
How much is the discount for restaurant bills?
20%.
Malaki rin, no?
Malaki rin.
20%.
Well, that's all the time that we have. We have featured some of the best episodes and snippets of episodes here in Legal Help Desk, and the best is yet to come. We'd like to thank all our guests and all our case studies for making the past year special. I'm Attorney Rod Nepomuceno.
And I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. We'd also like to thank our viewers who shared their experiences with us and asked for our help via Twitter and Facebook pages. And good news, starting December 2, Legal HD is already for 1 hour. That means we can answer more questions and give more legal advice.
That's great.
And our new time slot is 7 p.m.
All right, looking forward to that.
Yes. So if you have questions, just send us your comments or messages directly and we will try to address them as best as we can. Join us again next Monday as we discuss your legal rights. Good night.